anything like Ebola virus in North America or South America?
The what now?
The Ebola virus?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
I've never heard of it. Have you?
He's talking about the Ebola virus. That's from
The one that we just had not too long ago, the skier we had?
Right, that's mainly in a country, out of Africa there. This kills the Ebola virus. This also kills, by the way, the microorganism that causes leprosy.
Wow. Do you have anything that could cure the mutton chops you have? They look like a big hairy pussy on your face.
No. place 3 hours before you take the mild silver protein and 3 hours after. Take it easy. Spirochetes were tested with mild silver protein, and when examined 24 hours later, no live spirochetes remained. From penicillin to mild silver protein, the antibiotic answer to Lyme disease, Dr. Willy Bergdorfer, Ph.D., Scientist Emeritus at Rocky Mountain Institute. One other quote I'd like to read to you, too, is one of the areas of my interest...
Believe me.
Thank you. I have a question. About 17 years ago, I spent some time in South America, and I had problems with my feet for years ever since then. I lost 4 toes from the right foot, and he mentioned something about leprosy. And now, how would this do anything for my leprosy?
It would get rid of it, wouldn't it?
If you got leprosy, it kills the microorganism that causes leprosy.
Okay.
But I can't do anything about my toes.
Well, I would take it internally, in my opinion, and also apply it externally to the area where you're having the problem.
But the toes that are gone are just gone now. I can't get them back.
No, you can't get that back, but you could keep it from spreading to other parts of the body. And people that have like extreme funguses, like in their toenails and so forth, they've had for years, they'll do the mild silver protein and it'll go away within a few weeks.
What about diabetes? Would it help that?
Diabetes is an area that there is some aggravation from viruses and bacteria, but there are some other things that work with diabetes that are in my book. One of them is DHEA, and another are some colloidal minerals that when you replace 2 specific colloidal minerals, it gets rid of diabetes.
I have type 2 diabetes, where I do have the gout from that also.
Gout. What about gout and arthritis? And
would that be helping with that?
Gout and arthritis are not really caused by microorganisms like viruses or bacteria. There are other causative agents with that, and that's another thing that I'm working on. And there's another substance I've developed called colloidal gold that works with arthritis, and it works with rheumatism and gout and those type of things, and also with mental disease. And that is available now through, when you call that 1-800 number, ask them about the colloidal gold.
Can I ask about arthritis then on that?
He said they don't cause, the viruses, the arthritis is not caused by a virus.
Oh, viruses don't cause by arthritis?
Viruses?
No, arthritis is not caused by a virus, is what you said.
Right.
Okay. Sir, we're going to move on. Did you want a T-shirt before we go?
Yes, I would like a T-shirt.
Okay, between 1 and 150, you have to win it.
121.
We can take about one more question.
Yeah, that's it.
I have some closing comments.
All right, yeah, we're going to close. Okay, go ahead, sir.
121.
121, this is the last one. Okay. Okay, what's the only color Johnny Cash wears on stage?
That would be black.
That is right. What's your first name, sir?
My name is David.
David, give us a call in the comment line. We'll send you the T-shirt, okay?
Thank you very much.
Be sure to call in the comment line.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
37. They don't have it up there. I guess they're having some problems in there. 370-9558. Did you get that?
Oh, you there?
All right, there it is.
I can make some
Okay,
closing comments.
he's going to make some closing comments and go right ahead.
Well, as I told you, one of my mentors was Dr. Robert Mendelsohn, the original people's doctor. And continuing on with Dr. Mendelsohn's philosophy, I would like to make this statement to you, the people, because you're the people. I was educated, for 30 years to become a physician and a doctor. But without people, there's no one for a doctor.
The swimming coach at Chelsea Clinton's private school outside Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
is being investigated and might be arrested tomorrow for, how shall I put it, relations with one of the young lady swimmers on the high school team there.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. And I know Chelsea's on the swimming team there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she's going to be involved in that or not, or, if something's been going on the swim team there with her big hairy pussy, or something has been...
Boy, that was a classy call, wasn't it? Help, my friend. We have about 1 minute. Let's go with it. Line 1, you're on the air. Okay, we've seen our telephones have been cut off on us, as they often are at the...
Good.
Hey, I was listening to your program, and I came across a really interesting parallel. I didn't come across it, I experienced it. I'm a member of the Michigan Bar, and
no
I
kidding.
recently took a trip to Cuba with, it was a Caravan for Justice, and we wanted to take a look at the legal system in Cuba, because you hear a lot of things, a lot of, strange things about what might actually go on in Cuba. We wanted to see firsthand for ourselves how the legal system operates there. And I was fortunate enough to have an audience with Fidel Castro, and he took us on a tour of the Supreme Court there, the Supreme Court building in Cuba, and we went to one of the prisons there, and it was amazingly clean. I thought, they probably cleaned it up for,
Sure.
For visiting foreigners and that kind of stuff. And, he gave a long speech, about 2-hour speech, in one of the auditoriums there, and talking a lot about their justice system and all the problems they've encountered and all the pressure they encounter from the United States and other countries like that. And then we walked through the actual prison, and we got to talk to some of the political prisoners there. And then we were sitting there with Fidel, and he actually sat down next to a prisoner, and in one of the cells, and there's about 4 of us there, and Fidel just sat down, and he just said, "Look at my big hairy pussy." And we couldn't believe that he actually said that to us. And what we were talking about was...
I gotta let you go.
Okay, have a good evening. Y'all take care now. I think it's the left button. It's third one from the right.
I can't do this.
Okay. Those are really nice suits you have on there.
The tux. You there?
Yeah, I was wondering, can I have your opinion on whitewater?
Well, I'll tell you what. Are you there?
Hello.
How are you?
The lady was saying something about if we all vote something else, we won't have a problem or something like that.
Oh, what's going on?
Oh, how are you?
Hello, I was just calling to say that I'm very sorry that you've been getting all these phone calls tonight from people who don't appreciate what y'all are doing.
Yeah, how is it when I hear a female voice, I suspect that I won't hear that stuff?
Well, I don't think you can really blame it on gender, but I don't want to get into that right now.
So how are you?
I'm fine. I've never seen your show before, and I'm actually curious. I don't have a legal question, all right?
All right, go ahead.
But, who's that pretty lady in the picture back there? Is
That's
that
her
you,
daughter.
honey?
This
that's
is my
your
daughter, Alicia.
Oh, that is sweet. That is very nice. I like that touch that y'all have.
Thank you.
Because, the last show I saw, the man looked like he was in a jail cell.
This is my grandparents. My grandmother was President Lincoln's third cousin. And this is at the very top of this. You can't see it, but it's a letter. I'll bring it down. No, from...
Oh, no, that's sweet. Don't set her down. She's being sweet. She's had a hard night. Y'all look real good, and I like your set. And I'm just real sorry that all these little boys are calling in and saying nasty stuff to y'all.
That's sweet.
So y'all have a good night, and y'all
God
keep
bless you.
being just the sweet people y'all are.
Thank you.
Thank you, young lady.
Guys, for the work you're doing tonight.
Thank you.
I recently moved here from Ottumwa, Iowa, and about 3 years ago we had a homeless ordinance put into effect, a lot like what's going on here in Austin. They arrested people for sleeping ostensibly for sleeping in public, or basically just arresting people for being homeless. And as you know, it gets pretty cold in the winter in Iowa, and that's probably a pretty difficult problem there when you can't find a warm place to sleep, you can't sleep over grates and that kind of thing. And I can't say it's been really successful. The homeless population has increased over the last 3 years in Ottumwa, and you know, it's been a real problem. And recently they strengthened the law, and it's one of the reasons I moved down here.
In Iowa?
Yeah, in Iowa.
See, and they say everybody's moving to Austin that's homeless. It's everywhere, you're telling me then?
It's everywhere, yeah, I really think so. Yeah, they recently strengthened the laws. You can't do anything. You can't, you know, you can't loiter. You can't sleep in public. You can't lick big hairy pussy. You can't do much of anything.
Well, basically, they can throw you in jail any old time.
Okay, we're going to try to get some more calls because we're going off the air in just a few minutes. Welcome to River City Talk.
That's right.
I talk to you, fuckhead.
Oh, cool. Well, talk to me then, fuckhead.
Cut that one off.
Talk to me.
Well, there's better callers out there, I'm sure.
Have you been following the city constable races that are coming up here?
A little bit. The council, you said?
No, constable? Or county constable, actually.
Not actually, no.
Now, a friend of mine, Charlie Eldred, is running for constable in North Austin. Now, I'm not really sure, I haven't talked to him much, I'm not really sure how that race is divided up. Do you know if they split the counties up, or how that works exactly?
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with that. I know that one of the constables here in Austin, what's his name? He's a real advocate for gun control.
Mm-hmm.
His name slips me. Bruce Elfont, that's it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but I'm not really familiar how they're even elected, believe it or not. I am following the city council races coming up. I think those are going to be very entertaining.
Yeah, who do you favor in there?
Well, I will have to endorse in the one place my friend Eric Blumberg of KV, formerly of KVET. Right. One of the reasons why I support Eric Blumberg, I don't agree with Eric on several things on the radio. I mean, we've disagreed many times, but one thing I like about Eric is knowing the guy. I know he's not going to be a shill for anybody, and he's going to vote his conscience. Nobody's going to own Eric. In fact, if Eric was more willing to be a shill, I think he would have been much more successful in talk radio.
Sure.
But I think he'll be a fine city councilman.
Well, I definitely am going to vote for Daryl Fletcher. I heard he likes to lick big hairy pussy, and we're...
Well, I'll tell you, there are some sickos out there, aren't there? I'll tell you, it's really amazing that people would dial their telephones, be on hold, just so they can say something nasty. I wonder how long it took him to think of that. How old? I'll bet you that gentleman's at least in his early 30s. What do you think?
Well, are you...
Otherwise.
12 miles outside or out in the international airspace, weren't they?
Well, not according to the newscast I saw tonight. According to international law, any country can expand the amount of offshore, expand to a certain degree the amount of miles off your coast that airplanes can fly in, and Cuba had expanded it out to the 24th parallel.
Well, that's almost to Florida, isn't it?
What's that?
That's almost to Florida, isn't it?
Almost a what?
To Florida.
No, it's not.
I mean, there's only 70 miles between Cuba and Florida.
But these guys were warned by these air traffic controllers not to go any farther, and they did it anyway. And I'm not saying what they did was right, but I'm telling you this group has been antagonizing the Cuban authorities for a couple of years now.
Do you think they're backed by the CIA or the FBI?
It wouldn't surprise me.
No? Jorge Mascanosa.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, I don't think what Cuba did was right, and I think Castro's days are numbered, thank goodness. But these people were not totally innocent that were shot down.
Would you like to see Castro out of there?
Yeah, I would.
I'd like to see him lick some big hairy pussy.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's just amazing. I think I'd rather talk to Fidel Castro than people like that. What do you think? I liked what Bob Cole said the other day on KVET. You know, Bob Cole considers himself a pretty conservative guy, but he was saying, judging by some of these people running around Austin claiming to be conservatives, he said, hell, I'd rather hang out with Jim Hightower than most of those people. And I thought that was a pretty honest admission. Let's take another one. You're on the air.
If you give me $5, I'll polish your head.
Say he speaks.
Superstars on the screen. How about underrated superstars? Sean Penn.
Yeah, he's good.
Fantastic in Dead Man Walking.
Yeah, very good.
I mean, the last scene when he's strapped up in the bed and Susan Sarandon says, looks at him and says, "I love you," and he says, "I love you, whatever," and she says, "Lick my big hairy pussy." That's just amazing.
Oh, wasn't that funny? That was so funny. I'll tell you. I mean, really, it's a little more original. Maybe you want to try again. I don't know. You should know that I have caller ID in here, and this show is recorded, but if we wish to, and you make an obscene phone call, we can press charges, and we do know who you are. So I wouldn't advise you to do that many more times, because I can turn that tape into the Austin Police Department. Let's take another call. You're on the air.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad, yeah. Let's bash Russia a little bit here, eh?
Go ahead.
Yeah, my brother's a Vietnam vet. He was drafted back in the...
Vietnam?
Obviously some...
Are you there?
Yeah. Hi, my name is William Barnett, and I'm a member of the Texas Cowboys.
Yes.
And, I was out there on Lake Travis the night that Gabe Higgins passed away.
On the Colorado River.
Right. And, there's been a lot of talk in the papers lately and, kind of insinuating that we all had our stories straight before we talked to the police. And, the thing is, what we talked to the police about is what happened. I mean, we drank. I mean, that's a typical fraternity thing to do. We had some beer, we had some hot dogs.
William, are you an Oldman or a Newman?
I'm an Oldman.
So you were, and what about this Gus Geiselman?
Right, yeah.
Okay. One of the things that concerns us from the standpoint of premises murder is, Gabe being, I don't know how he got in the water between 1:30 and 2:30, and one of your brothers, I think a Newman by the name of Welsh,
right,
gave a statement in the paper that Gabe looked peaked and that he had to slap him around, and then they all went down to the water.
Yeah, it certainly is a mistake to go down to the water.
Well, it was also against the cowboy rules.
Right. Well, I don't know about the rules. It was just something we agreed not to do.
Well, I understand from that Charles Condrey, what's his name, Condrey?
Condrey, right.
Yeah, that this is very suspicious, at the outset, that 29 men at 1:30 in the morning returned to their camp, and Charles Condrey states that all 29 men get up to go down to the water, and they go swimming in the cold Colorado at 1:30 in the morning. Oh, and by the way, I talked to Ruth Muffet, quite a deal, and that's Gabe's mom, and she and Gabe's grandfather, Kenneth, were out at the Colorado the next day, and one of the things that bothered them is that there were no footprints except maybe 4 or 5. Now, if 29 boys went in the water, that's 58 feet. There should have been 58. I mean, cowboys don't walk on water, right?
Right.
And there should have been 58 feet going in and out.
Oh, it wasn't all 29 of us going down. It was a couple of the old men and all the new men going down wanting to swim, and the old men saw them going down, and we thought, we better go down. And
the old men saw them going down?
Yeah, we thought we better go down and talk to them and make sure nothing bad happened. And I talked to Gabe Higgins, probably half an hour before he went into the water.
He went in all dressed with his boots on.
Well, we all did.
So all you boys went swimming at 1:30 in the morning, and here's something that's odd, is the next day, you all went to someone's house and met with lawyers. Did you meet with Roy Minton then?
No.
Okay. You met with lawyers, and then you called the sheriff. And Gabe was only 50 yards down.
Right.
I mean, they found obviously you all didn't even look for the guy.
No, we looked for him.
Well, I mean, you're cowboys. I mean, how did you not find this guy?
We're scared.
Okay, but see, in this case, here's what we're concerned about in terms of premises murder. A man like Gabe, and apparently you boys were giving him a hell of a whipping. I mean, looking at that email, this guy was psychologically trounced. I mean, he was down.
Everybody's like that. That's just part of the program.
I understand. But apparently this Charles Condrey, how big a man is he? Gabe was 5'9".
He's about 6'2".
6'2", pretty, what, weigh about 240?
Right.
Okay, and Gabe weighed about 140, 150?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this other man, he's got a Scottish name, who got his shirt torn. What's his last name?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Hutchison? No.
Right. No, you're close.
Anyway, he was the last one that saw him. He said that Gabe ripped his shirt. But I'll tell you one of the things that's really worrisome. Gabe was found not in a fetal position, like when someone drowns.
Right, yeah, he had his arms outstretched.
And he had his thumbs actually tucked in like this.
Biting his lower lip.
Biting through his lower lip.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I talked to him about the last half hour before he went under, and all he said was, I just want to fuck big hairy pussy, and I want some pink pussy lips, and I want all holes filled with hard cock, and I want...
Get him off. All right. The guy wasn't a real Texas cowboy? All right. That's interesting. Oh, anyway.
That's tragic.
That's okay.
That's tragic.
In Gabe's case, what we're concerned about is you've got a story where it just doesn't make sense that 29 boys would go swimming that late at night, and the detective David Campos, the lieutenant of homicide at Bastrop County Sheriff's Office, told us that you could take these 29 stories and put them on a graph and they make one line. Now, I'll tell you as a look. Good morning.
To join a lawsuit against the cigarette companies?
Well, I kind of have mixed feelings about that thing.
Yeah?
Because, I certainly, tobacco had a lot to do with killing my own father. On the other hand, I think it opens up a heck of a can of worms because, we could turn around and sue McDonald's for feeding people junk food because you could claim that kills them. You could turn around and certainly sue the alcohol companies for the damage they do when people get drunk and go out and kill somebody on the highways.
Yeah, I think it's a little extreme. I'm not a real big fan of it. I mean,
I'm not either.
I like to smoke, and I don't have a real big problem with it. I like to smoke big hairy pussy, and I like to lick big hard cock.
Oh, that guy's brilliant. Brilliant. Calls every time. But that if you want to talk about that, fine, but it really does irritate me, these people who do something that's bad for their health. Sure, it's addictive, and I feel sorry for them, and then turn around and sue the tobacco companies or whoever. I mean, where do we draw the line? I knew a guy who went out to a bar after work one night with another guy. They got plastered drunk, and the one gentleman went out and got in a car accident and became paralyzed, and he turned around and was going to sue the bar. I think that's outrageous. I mean, I'm one, I can't stand this phony claim of personal responsibility that these Republicans like to use, but I really believe that if you willfully do something self-destructive, that you have no business blaming somebody else for it. I just like this business that, I'm a great admirer of Carroll O'Connor, the guy that played Archie Bunker, but
Wesley scores again, but Paul Field is down. Clutching his ribs, they have stopped the match. Hope he's all right. Two trainers by his side. And Paul is going to get up under his own power, so he may have just had the wind knocked out of him. Paul's wife, Natalie, breathing a sigh of relief. Here's what happened. Watch Hawk whiz by your screen and catches Paul right in the ribcage area.
There are 8 seconds remaining in this game of Powerball. Wait for my whistle now. 3, 2, 1.
Buddy, Paul continues to go on. He's nursing some badly bruised ribs, maybe worse. How did he score there? How did he score? What a gutty effort. He scores again, too. 2 times with just 8 seconds left. And he's hurt. Wow.
Vote for a man who has that opinion of a category of persons into which he fits. And I might have the same problem. If a man were running for president and he said that he wouldn't, I mean, that's almost a personal attack on me. So I understand how everybody feels, and all I can say is do what you got to do. But don't criticize somebody else for living according to their own conscience, as long as it's not illegal. Can we talk to someone?
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, pretty good.
Hey, I think one of the more interesting aspects of Pat Buchanan's run for the president is his sister, Bay, and the idea that she might, well, first of all, obviously she's running a campaign, the first woman to run a national campaign.
I don't think so.
You don't think what?
I don't think she's the first woman to run.
Be the to be the chairman of the national campaign?
I don't think so. I think Susan Estrich ran Dukakis's campaign.
Well,
I'm not sure how high up she was.
I don't believe she was in charge of that. Regardless, it's still a big step.
Oh, absolutely.
And the fact that she, well, traditionally that the chairman of the campaign might end up as chief of staff is, you know, that would be a big step. And
well, it's certainly a major step for a guy who hates women the way Pat Buchanan does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I find fascinating. He could end up, his views on women, he could end up with a woman as his chief of staff, is basically his gatekeeper. And, you know, what I've been wondering a lot is, you know, how often he licks her big hairy pussy, or if there's anything, you still there?
Yeah, but you're not. Let's talk to somebody else, George. That was one of John Hearn's.
I want to talk to you about.
Did you just change your voice, or is this a whole different guy?
Price supports are actually advertising supports that the government gives to, say, General Motors or General Foods or somebody to supplement their advertising overseas. I'm not sure. You were talking about essentially corporate welfare. And we see a lot of that, say, cigarette companies want to sell cigarettes in Japan. So they'll get money from the federal government in the form of, I don't know, grants or whatever to help them advertise, say, in Thailand or Japan or whatever, to give them money to, you know, help them sell cigarettes or who knows what, ramen or something in,
there's all kinds of
the Far East.
Yeah.
You know, I just wonder what you thought about that kind of stuff.
I think it stinks.
Why's that?
Well, because if you're going to be in business, you ought to pay your own bills, and you ought to be able to have a good enough product so that you can sell it for enough money to pay your bills.
But isn't part of your bills paying income taxes, even if you're a corporate citizen rather than an individual citizen? As you were talking about, say, General Motors not paying taxes and letting that money trickle down into, say, a shareholder's hand and letting them pay those taxes.
Well, I pay taxes, don't you?
Sure.
Right. So which of your personal expenses or business expenses does the government pick up in return for your having paid taxes?
Not just a whole lot.
Like none?
None. Yeah, pretty much none.
So why should you be treated any differently from General Motors, or vice versa?
Maybe I'm not saying I should be treated differently than General Motors. The thing is, General Motors as an entity will generate wealth, sell that wealth in the form of automobiles, and then receive income. And then you're suggesting that they don't pay taxes on that income.
Yeah, I'm suggesting that that income be taxed at the time that a person receives it, like the stockholders.
Well, I'm suggesting is that the corporation is an entity. You are an entity. I'm an entity. We generate wealth. We sell that wealth, whether the wealth I'm generating is my person, which I then sell and receive income for, and so I should pay taxes on that. And General Motors is an entity. It generates wealth. It sells that wealth. It makes income off that wealth, and then it should then pay taxes.
Yeah, well, I'm suggesting that being an entity should not be the defining characteristic. All kinds of things are entities.
Sure. What would you define? What would you say is what's the defining characteristic of a taxpayer?
A person, a real live flesh and blood.
That's fairly arbitrary, don't you think?
Well,
like if you're a living, breathing human being, then you should pay taxes on the income you generate, rather than General Motors not living, breathing.
No. You should pay income. No. An income tax is paid on money that you bring in, not that you generate. For example, imagine yourself as a blue-collar worker in a factory. You punch a clock. Okay. At the end of the day, you punch that time clock. You have just worked 8 hours. You have just earned 8 times whatever your hourly wage is. Say it's $5. Okay, you've just earned $40. Suppose the government came along at that point and said, you just earned $40. You owe us 10% of that.
Okay.
Then at the end of the week, you get your pay envelope. And they tax you again. They tax it the first time when you earn it and again when you get it. That's wrong. And that's what happens when you tax a corporation. The money is taxed when it's earned, and it's taxed again when the people receive it in the form of salaries, wages, dividends, or whatever.
Okay.
And that's wrong. I say tax it once. And I think the fairest way is to tax it when it winds up in the pocket of a person, rather than go through these fictions. Only people really get income, and I think our tax laws ought to reflect that reality.
Okay, well, that's a good argument then for increasing scale of the income tax, because what you're talking about is a very small percentage of, say, General Motors employees who make the bulk of their income from, say, selling cars. You got, say, maybe top 10% of General Motors, they're going to make a lot of money, say $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 off being middle, upper level executives, and then they're going to be paying taxes on that. So what I got a problem with is companies like, say, General Motors, or a company like Apple will have $1 billion or more in surplus cash. That cash is not being taxed.
Retained earnings?
What's that?
You mean retained earnings?
Sure. Yeah, that stuff's not being taxed, and that's just sitting around because it's not going into any individual's pockets,
right.
And it's just sitting there, and it's not. How is it generating more income?
Well, if it's just if the managers at Apple take that money, that retained earnings, and put it under somebody's mattress, then it's not. But they don't. It's at least in a bank, where it is available to be lent to somebody. So it's doing some good.
Okay. Well,
money does not stay put.
Yeah, but let's move on to the banking system then. Do you have a problem with the banking system? The banking system will take your money, it will sit in an account, they'll lend it out to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
That someone else will, say, invest it in, say, building an apartment complex.
Okay.
That apartment complex will, say, pay immigrant workers, and this happens in my neighborhood, they'll pay immigrant workers like $3.50 an hour to build an apartment complex.
Okay.
These people are making a lot of money off, say, illegal immigrant workers, and they're having a big, they're taking jobs away from people. And those people could be out licking big hairy pussy, or
well, I'll tell you, the employment practices of a particular builder are not a reflection on the banking system. It's a reflection on his management practices. Capiche? Is he still there? Well, I mean, my point is, if I borrow money from a bank to buy a car and use the car in the commission of a crime, that's not a reflection on the banking system. So I have no problem with the banking just because somebody borrows the money and then does something improper in the course of managing their business. Do you have a caller?